Hello and welcome to another episode of West Underground. Now, make sure, guys, you like and subscribe. And today we have none other than Joel from the Ugly Kings. He's joining us across state lines. He's here. And how you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Thanks, Hamish. I'm well. Yeah, can't complain. It's nice and chilly in Melbourne, but
It always
warm
is.
inside. Yeah, it seems to be.
Oh, how many sunny days do you get a year? Because Jack's from England, and I wouldn't reckon there's much difference.
I think Melbourne's probably on par, except like when you have like hot days, don't you?
We get really
ridiculous.
hot summers.
Yeah,
and,
man.
but we get probably like 2.5 sunny days, like whole days.
2.5.
Yeah,
and you have that weird
365.
shit of like the 4 seasons in the day, don't you?
Yeah. So that's why it's a full sunny day is rare, you know.
Yeah. And then it just snows.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I've been to Melbourne twice, and like both times I've been like, I could be in England right now. It's that fucking cold.
Yeah, correct. And it's probably like January, middle of summer.
Yeah.
In the southern hemisphere.
Yeah, strange. Beautiful place though.
Yeah,
beautiful
it's
place.
Gorgeous. Yeah, really nice.
And tell us a little bit about how you started in music and how you started the band.
All right, 2 different questions there, definitely, because I didn't start the band. I'm the newest member.
And they sent you up for this?
Yeah.
They sent you up to the gallows for this?
But I started in music. I think piano was my first instrument at about like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
My brother was playing, and I just wanted to be like my big brother. Dad's a muso. He's lead guitarist in some cover bands and blues bands up in Queensland.
Nice.
And so naturally I wanted to play the drums. So, I was tinkering out on the piano.
What's the noisiest thing I can play?
Yeah,
I'll jump on the drums.
And it was like a horn or a drum set.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I think the drums just picked it at the post for noise.
You really are Dave Grohl. We were just saying before for the listeners that when Joel joined, he had a black and white picture of himself and as his profile, and he looks like Dave Grohl in the photo. And hearing that you've played instruments in you about 3 or 4, like, man, and you play the drums.
You are Dave Grohl.
Dave Grohl. Don't say that. It's going to catch on. And
I want it to catch on.
People will never call me Joel anymore.
Yeah. Hey, Dave Grohl. And you go,
yeah, they'll be like, hey, Dave.
Guy.
Davey.
Guy. Davey boy. Davey boy. So when did you join Ugly Kings then?
So it was like 3 years. It just popped up on Facebook as like a memory.
Oh, like memory.
Yeah,
cute
like
memory.
A few days ago. So that was 3 years. And the boys, like the singer Russell is the original drummer.
Oh, okay.
So drummed and lead sang, which is always fun.
Yeah, that's a hard task, isn't it, for anybody?
Gig.
Yeah.
Doing one and the other is hard enough, and then doing them both, it's like, damn.
Yeah.
And so him and Christos, the guitarist, started the band, and had another dude on a second guitar, and Christos would run his guitar amp through like a bass amp, 2 guitar amps, and split signals 3 ways.
Oh, okay.
And then the other guitarist was like second guitarist, and then they got a bass player, which is Nick, current lineup Nick, and then they had a drummer Ryan come in, who's like a really great sound engineer, and then he went to England doing like sound engineer stuff, and really great dude, Andy, joined the band, and he's a beast. They're both beasts on the drums. And then Ryan came back from overseas, joined the band again. So if you're following this Venn diagram, it's like Ryan, Andy, Ryan again, and then I come in.
So how does that feel to have good drummers all around you then?
Man,
by the sounds of it, because I imagine it's the old Paul McCartney thing with Ringo, isn't it? I can do that better than you.
Yeah.
Not even the best drummer in the band. You know what I mean?
Well, luckily for me,
does that ever happen?
Very good. So
yeah,
and that's
luckily for me, I'm the best.
I'm confident in my abilities, I should say.
Oh, that's good.
Good.
But yeah, like Russell will swap sometimes at rehearsals, and he'll jump on the drums and slap the skins, and I'll sing a bit, and we'll just get some energy going that way.
Yeah.
Different rhythms, like different different brains going, like doing different things. They hear things differently. Russ is real like sort of like plays to the groove of a guitar or a bass or something, where I can do that, but I might just like sit straight on a beat, or like I can just do a few maybe like tiny bit more technical stuff. But yeah, we often swap. And Nick, the bassist, they can all play drums in the Kings. Like Nick will jump on drums, I'll jump on bass and swap it up a bit. And we just try to keep it fresh. And
that was one thing. So for the listeners, we the Grand Union supported you guys. Frankie's, when was that? 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, 2 or 3.
I think it was one of our first shows, possibly of the year. I don't know. Right. Who knows anymore? Who bloody knows anymore? Especially like since the restrictions have gone and whatever. But I was so there was a couple of things I took away from that night. And like, obviously you're an amazing live band, right? And everybody is an amazing musician in that band. And you can always tell when you watch bands if certain members are being carried, and you think, I wonder if they're having a bad gig, or they are dog shit all the time, right? And you never want to poke the bear, but sometimes I like doing it. But so like that was like one of the big takes away from it for me was like takeaways. So it was like, I was like, fuck, these are all really accomplished musicians. They all know what they're doing. And the other thing was like, we had a conversation before the gig, and I've never met a more switched on band in regard to like releases, like how the music industry works, like all those things. There's a point where we were having a conversation and I was like, fuck, I wish we didn't have to play this gig tonight, because I feel like I'm learning a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I guess I did a degree in entertainment management.
Oh, okay.
So majoring in music business. Christos, who like directs a lot of the ship as well, mainly directs the ship and I support. He works pretty high up in like project management stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So he just like been doing it for like quite some time and just soaks it all in, and just takes like that real stepped approach and that real methodical approach to it, and just goes like, we need to do this and this, and this is our timeline, this is our achievables, this is what we need to do by these dates. And it's good to have like I guess the general steering, or the captain steering that ship, like with him there, because he can delegate a lot of jobs. And then Rusty, the singer, was like social media marketing manager. Nick's
this is why he's so set up. I can see it now.
And then Nick's really good on socials and content, and really good with like, he helps book shows with me, and so we've got a good little working I guess it's like small business.
It's a little machine, and that's how you run it, is like a business. Like we actually spoke about you guys the other week, Hamish. I think it was on Monday Night Fever. It was on that. It's a terrible melody, that, isn't it? I know. And we were talking about you guys, and so I was saying about like how usually in bands you have one who is like, right, I'll spearhead it, I'll keep this in line, business side of it all. And then you'd have like songwriter, might stay away from the business side of it. And then the band kind of splits off into, are you better at the administration side of the band, or are you better off writing the songs? And I feel like it kind of split. But with the Ugly Kings, it's like, when I was having that conversation, I was like, oh fuck, these are all onto it.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel like one person sat there going, I'll just buy the bass. You know what I mean? It's not like that at all.
Yeah. Which is good. It's like it just helps spread the load, I guess, because everyone can do these tasks and can write. I don't want to pigeonhole musicians, but can write like a well-worded, structured email. Everyone in the band can be tasked with that, like contacting people, or
like an adult.
Like an adult.
Like an adult. Top tip for musicians, Joel.
Be
at the bottom. Take off. Send from my iPhone. Always works a trick. That.
Yeah.
Always makes a treat.
Yeah, makes you at least 75% more professional.
Fuck, this guy's got a computer. He's just bad.
Yeah, man. What question were we on? Oh, music, and was that the first question still?
Oh well, I don't know if it was a question. I think Jack just gave a great compliment of you guys, like wearing many hats.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I think that's like, like a lot of I and we interview lots of artists and stuff, and that's one thing you see all the time, that so many artists. I think today it's in this world it's harder because you to survive, like you have to wear the different hats. One person has to be social, digital marketing, content creator, and be all over that side of things. And you have to have admin. It's great if you can share it amongst you all. And but yeah, like I wish more bands did that. And if there is anybody watching, make sure you've got a little pen and your notepad down, and make sure you go back to your little band tomorrow and start,
kicking ass.
Delegating jobs. Just find those real specific strengths and know your weaknesses. Like if you can't, like I'm real terrible with like social media, so I just don't go near it. But I can send invoices, and I can create contacts and make networks with a lot of people, and can book a gig. So I stick to my strengths and steer clear of. I work on my weaknesses, but I also know where I'm probably not going to excel so much, and then someone else can do a better job.
Especially if you can do it as well, man. Like it's so like with us here, it's like Hamish is like a master of all trades, really. You know what I mean? Like he can wear a lot of hats, and then it's kind of like the other day he used to show me how to use TikTok, and I was like, "What the fuck is TikTok?"
I know, right?
I was like, "What is this? I'm a grown man," and but it's necessary, and it's like all of that now is a necessity, because it's not just about the music you can put out. It's the package, isn't it? It's selling the Ugly Kings as an experience, really, as like a brand. That's what you're selling. It's not just we turn up and we play a great show. It's not just that anymore.
Correct. And that's the thing. It's like I've read a lot, mainly from online blogs and online media, that are like, it's like, what's the difference? I suppose the difference between like Apple releasing new product and a band releasing new product. That's essentially what it is. It's product. Like it's a creative endeavor where you're putting like your heart and soul into it, and sweating away trying to like labor over lyrics and riffs or drum parts or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, you've got this, it's a tangible thing, and it's like that's your platform to sell and get live shows, so you can put on a really great live performance. But without your product, or without that, and it's hard for creatives to think in like terms of like, oh, this is my art. And it depends what you want, really. Like if you don't want it to be like a monetary thing, or that's cool too, like whatever you want to do with your music. But makes it easier when you're not working like a day job to support your art, or whatever it is. Not that I'm not working a day job, but it helps that I'm not forking tons of cash to do these things, so I can still do my art, do my passion, and do it from a space where I'm not like taking a big half a mortgage on a house out for a record or something, or whatever it is. But man, I think that tangible product. And I think with all this, like I've been getting into a little bit of like the NFT world with artists and musicians, not tons, but there's a few companies popping up where it's like they'll monetize your product, and turn it into that non-fungible token to make it like well, I guess it's like to value what you're doing, because there was time that went into create it and stuff. So I'm just doing a bit of research about that now, and it's a a brave new world, I guess.
Yeah. Could you imagine the Beatles, the Stones, or like Zeppelin be like, right, there's these NFTs. We gotta get into these NFTs.
I know, but it was a completely different
Just
world.
like,
Yeah, well,
Jimmy Page is like, listen to this riff, playing stereo. No, Jimmy.
TikTok won't like it.
Yeah, TikTok. Yeah, you got 12 seconds, Jim.
But man, that's the difference. Like,
It's crazy. It's crazy.
It was like I when I do my degree, I study globalization, the effects of like, like a record could go really well in the UK and then in the States, and then you could actually see in different territories it's spreading out and going like gold, platinum here, and it was actually like the localities of those places that like it was sort of centralized. It wasn't like this internet that's everything's instant around the world at the same time. It was like, you go on a tour and it could increase record sales, and record labels had huge artists that were, people bought tons of media because there wasn't a phone to look at. It was like, I'll listen to records all night, and we couldn't do this back then. And
have you ever heard
TV?
Hey Jack, can I just cut you off
go on,
for 1 second? Is Joe, you said something really interesting about like the NFT stuff, right? And I'm just wondering too, like if artists were to put up them, whether they were selling the artwork off as NFTs of their albums and stuff, wouldn't that give the person who bought that NFT the intellectual copyright?
I haven't gotten that far into it, but I think the master copy or the original, that's it. So the companies that I've been looking at, they buy the rights to your tracks like a label, and then they'll monetize it. But it's a little bit different to where, I haven't got that far down the rabbit hole. Essentially, if I bought it, then I own a 10,000th of your royalty. I think you do, and then, but someone will correct me if I'm wrong on your platform.
Oh, and they will.
Yeah, they will. They'll cook me for
they
it.
will. They will.
And then, but you get a residual artist royalty essentially. And even if it gets on-sold, you can contract into things and mechanisms that work with that NFT. So I don't know the full scope of it, but
because I had a look into it like 6 months ago when we were in lockdown. I had more time to do anything I could ever want, and when this NFT stuff came up, I thought, oh, great, this would be, this sounds great. But then I was like, oh, if they buy that, does what do they own? So I'm wondering if it's like when the Beatles sold their rights. Jack, you were mentioning the Beatles before, and then having somebody make money, like because they're holding the master copies. That's what the impression I was under. But I've always wished that somebody could set up like the way you were pitching it there, where it's almost like a music stock, or something like that, where you could own like a percentage of a track, right? So then everybody could chip in and all of a sudden make somebody
get TikTok swirling and everyone like
everyone's jumping on it because they got a piece of it.
Yeah, and you get a piece of it.
We own 2% of Jesse's girl.
Yeah. Man, it probably gets like on the gold, like I don't know what Sydney's equivalent is, but like Gold FM down here is like classic hits.
Yeah.
And it's like it's just bangers all day. But Jesse's girl probably gets like 10 spins a day. So it's like
it is a banger though.
Yeah,
it is a banger. Man, what you were saying before about like globalization and our like local markets.
Yeah.
It reminded me of the story of, I think when the Police went to America, they were unknown. And by the end of their tour, they were #1 in America. And they started in like a little van, just like playing little, backyard taverns.
It happened with Soundgarden. You can see their tour when they released Black Hole Sun.
Yeah.
And what a brilliant song. And it went, number whatever it went, probably #1 on the billboards, but it just went, they were booked out all these shows. I think In Excess did the same thing. By the time they got back to the West Coast or something, they were like stadiums, but they started in like 500 venue, like taverns or whatever they are, like venues. And by the time they've done the next leg, they're like stadiums, and
Huge.
they just had to keep up booking, and which is wild. But yeah, I think the NFT thing, just to finish it, it's like I had a point, and it's probably gonna go, but like the copyright in songs, right? There's the copyright in the recording, and there's the copyright. The songwriter has a copyright. So there's sound recording and I'll probably get this wrong. Someone will cook me for it, but
and they will.
Sound recording and like the creator. So I don't think you can ever like. I don't know if you can.
So it's like
your automatic royalty of like I wrote this song. It's always there's a intrinsic, like say I write Imagine and then 20 people cover it. Yeah. There's copyright for the creator. For John Lennon's family or whatever now. So I did a law subject at uni during my time there, and that was a long time ago, so I can't remember the ins and outs. Any lawyers? Hit me up.
Look, I think you're touching on it. It's like if you write the song, then you get your the main intellectual property rights of like being the songwriter, and you also, and that's how you register your songs to APRA and all that kind of stuff. And then depending on what deal you make here, where you either hire the rest of the band either you split that up with the band, or you pay them off as contractors, and the same thing goes with your engineer.
Yeah, correct. Your producer or someone.
Yeah, but usually the producer's just paid for the day.
Yeah.
So they're not even
contracted deal.
They're not even involved in it. How do you guys do it? Do you just have like whoever wrote the song, just split that up?
We just do YouTube. We do U2 where it's democratic. Everyone's a equal.
Yeah, I think it's the best way to do it as well, man. Like sometimes I think you can listen to a track and something in the bass riff could be the thing that makes the song.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And you go, oh my God, like what a hook or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you think, well, if that's the best thing in the song, then that's more important probably than the lyrics or the vocals, if that's the thing that people always go back to. So I do think it's the best way of doing it.
It's funny you mentioned that, Jack, because
if you take over control and you're like, I write all the songs, then your band members are just like, well, fuck you. You know what I mean? Because it's
I think there was an Aussie band, maybe like Skyhooks or like one of those big 70s bands, Sherbet or something. Like there's a story where one of the members who like had all the songwriting credits was rolling up to band practice in like some European sports car. And the other bloke, like the poor drummer's just there eating chip sandwiches in like some old Commodore, and he's like, mate, how'd you afford that thing? And he's like, yep, it's called songwriting royalties.
Yeah.
I get lots of them.
Yeah, you don't get them.
Yeah.
It's funny that we're mentioning this because this morning I was like watching YouTube when I shouldn't have been, and I saw this little, you know how the YouTube now is copying TikTok a little bit, and they've started getting the reels, and you kind of fall into what YouTube is equivalent of it. It's called the shorts. And I saw this one with Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins. He's talking to Rogan, and he's saying about how he started driving Ferraris, and with the same thing, turning up to band practice in Ferraris and stuff like that, and they're going, Billy, what the hell? Mm-hmm. Like it just rubs everyone the wrong way.
Yeah. Jimmy Chamberlain's there just tapping away like a beast.
Yeah.
in his 350Z. Apparently he had a 350Z when they first met, like a Nissan 350Z. When Billy Corgan met him, they were all like punky and all like alternate, and the drummer was like, he's shit hot, but he had like some real like sports car and like wore like, I don't know, you can probably Google it and find the full story, but like was like full slick and like a bit like edgy, and they're all in like ripped jeans and like and the point of that story is
He didn't
don't
have a
drive
Ferrari.
a sports. He didn't have a Ferrari. Either. And then Billy Corgan started wearing jackets and was like driving sports cars, and the tables turned.
And then, just on top, this is off topic, but one thing that was kind of funny is Billy said he went to the Ferrari dealership and they were like, "How do you want to pay for this?" And he goes, "Cash." Opens the boot of the car that he drove in, and he's like, "Is that enough?"
That's too much money.
Yeah.
I wonder how many NFTs you could buy for that Ferrari.
Well, depends. You could buy a lot, I suppose, but it's like,
I wonder how many pumpkins you could buy.
Yeah,
that's a better question.
And high-rise buildings to drop them off to
smash them. Smash those pumpkins.
Yeah.
What is your take on NFTs? Because to a degree, it is a bit of a pyramid scheme. Like you've got to everybody's kind of got to get behind it, and then you've got to have the big artists and silicon companies that are pumping out the really clever ones and the good ones, and it feels a bit.
Man, I honestly don't know. I've not done enough research to have a formulated opinion. Essentially, like I think you look at like the potential of like $100 NFT and 1,000 copies of it or whatever, like of whatever the thing is, the art. And I'm like, I just put the zeros on it. I'm like, that's $10,000. And it looks cool, but whether it has inherent value, I've had conversations with friends about like the the tangibility versus non-tangibility of that product. It's like if it's like a digital file, what's the difference between a physical? I just
don't see the point in it, man.
So
like I think I don't understand it, and I don't ever want to understand it. It's like I seen so fucking I've had a bad back, Joel, right? I've had a bad back, and I found myself.
Upper or lower?
You're in the bad back club?
No, upper or lower back?
Oh, lower. I thought you said. Oh, yeah. I thought you said I've got a lower. I thought we were in like family there. And I found myself watching WrestleMania, right? And one of the Paul brothers, I don't know which one of them, he had a Pokemon card around his neck that's worth $5.2 million.
Logan.
Logan. And I was like, what in God's name? Just sell it. Just sell it. Like, why?
Does he wear it wrestling?
Like, he wore it to the ring. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, like I say, I don't care. Like, I don't want to understand it because it's just, but I know people are like, well, it's a non-depreciating item. You know what I mean? Oh, fuck off.
So buy some pumpkins, man. Of it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's just like, it's just ludicrous.
Yeah.
It's strange times, if you ask me, Joel. Strange times.
Very strange times. Great
you know what I'd rather invest in though, guys? Like how many, well, I'll ask you this, Joel. How many drum kits do you have? Or do you just have one kit, or do you have a couple and little bits that you have a tom off different?
No, I've got one kit. I just got a quote for a new kit.
Yeah.
So I need to get rid of the old kit before I can get a new kit. And then I've got a little practice kit, like a little mesh head kit. So I guess 2 kits, and then if we do the maths, 2 take 1 plus 1 is probably 2 still.
Yeah, still 2.
It's still 2. I'll have 2 kits regardless. I don't have enough room for many kits. I would love lots, but where we rehearse, a dude, Andy, the old drummer, he runs Alcatone Backlines, and they've done like backlines for like Mastodon and like all these huge bands, and they're just like sort of local Melbourne company. But he's got like these like strange times we recorded on this like I can't remember the decade, I think 70s Ludwig that was his.
Yeah.
And it was like big 24-inch kick, 13, 16 toms, and it just sang the whole time. It sounded beautiful.
Yeah.
And so if I need like a fix of like another kit, I just hire one off him.
Yeah.
Like I'll hire it for a session or for a video or whatever, and then I've got a kit here that barely gets touched, and they've got heaps of kits at the studio. It's 1B Productions is the place just down the road. And they run
You're a lucky man.
Yeah, Headstone Records. So like it's like most nights I'm on a different kit, and I very rarely have to lug a kit to rehearsal.
Nice.
Which is beautiful as a drummer, because your back gets really sore.
Oh man, it's
my back's hurting just thinking about lifting drums.
Being a lead singer, right? And I just carry
you just carry a microphone. You've got nothing.
Literally, just like not even to rehearsal. Don't even do that. Like I get to rehearsal sometimes with like a bottle of water, and I go, "Fucking hurry up, drummer! Marcus, get your stuff together, man." But always the loading's always like I have like my mic stands and I like a little wireless microphone in the box, and then you're just watching the drummer just. You know, 1 flight of stairs. They're saying it's 9 flights of stairs, or it's the biggest flight of stairs you've ever seen. And I'm like, do you want me to hold your phone for you?
I'll film you struggling.
I'll do good numbers on TikTok.
Yeah. I don't know enough about TikTok. Nick does our TikTok. I don't think we just do it because I guess we have to. We're not really invested in it.
Not also the enjoyment.
Yeah, no, it's funny, but I don't get it, but I don't get a lot of things. So not to say that it's not needed, it's definitely needed, but yeah, I just don't understand it.
Just don't get it.
Yeah, but drummers falling down 9 flights of stairs with a big kick drum on TikTok, that's
primo. Material. That's primo.
Put your new Grand Union track on the back of it, and then just watch that go up. Yeah, Stream City
on the stairs.
Oh man, could you imagine the sound? Like when you go into any drum kit, not drum kit, sorry, any.
Yeah, I'm regularly inside drum kits. I just crawl into the bass drum and fall asleep.
In his mind.
Curl up in one.
In his mind, it just is.
Yeah.
Oh, but when you go into like stairwells and John Bonham, you recorded in one.
Levy breaks, I think.
Yeah, but could you just imagine the noise down 9 flights of stairs? Like, imagine how big that has to be to have 9 flights of stairs. To be like,
yeah, it would.
And a few screams.
It would be screams, lots of pain,
tears,
laughter from the phone holder.
From me with the phone.
Yeah.
Get up.
We played a show the other week with Johnny Hunter, Sydney lads.
Oh yeah.
And they were in Melbourne for residency, and I'm pretty sure it was their drummer that dropped a cymbal when they were loading out, and the noise that made in a street, it just like turned everyone's heads.
Yeah.
And we're just like, what the
you know what as well, because everybody would know what it was.
Yeah. It sounded like glass crashing. It was like must have been like a huge big crash cymbal, and we were just like, everyone out the front was just like, what? He's like, all good.
Boy, did it crash.
Yeah.
Boy, did it crash. So, Joel, tell me about. I like the way you did that, and you're the drummer as well.
Yeah.
So, tell me about obviously the latest album and the process of that, and obviously the very aptly named "Strange Times."
Yeah. So we started writing, I guess, when I joined the band. I got a bass and a Strat here, I got this is my go-to little number, so I play that, and so I came with a bag of riffs, even though the boys have like bags of riffs, and so we all just like put our riffs together and started writing for this new album when I joined. So and it was real. Yeah.
The keys, guitar, and a bit of bass and drum.
Yeah. Yep.
You really.
He's Dave Grohl.
Don't
I'm sorry to bring it back, but
yeah, I try to, and but drums are my passion, I guess. Like I probably play guitar more than I play drums, just because of the noise thing and accessibility, I guess.
How do you get away with it at your place? Like, your neighbors cool with you practicing? Yeah.
I don't play an acoustic kit here. Remember the 1+1 kit, and then
1+1 second kit, take one, take it
second
away.
kit is a mesh head.
Quick maths. Quick maths.
But I was just thinking, wasn't there a little practice one? Is that
practice one with mesh. So mainly just like kick and snare, just for hands and feet work.
Oh, okay.
I got quiet cymbals, but very rarely use them. Yeah. So, yep, just mainly just like essentially like a practice pad and a kick practice pad, and that's the noise. You know, like electronic drums, like people got headphones on and they're like going around and like sounds fantastic, and then all you hear is like
smashing the shit out of rubber pads.
All you hear is just like rubber on stick, and everyone's like, shut the fuck up. But that's pretty much all the noise I make. And then but I can't remember the question.
Oh no, man, we were asking about the album, about like the process of it.
So started writing it, and then we're in Melbourne, so we had like hectic sort of, not hectic, but like extended lockdowns with COVID. But we'd done pre-production just before, like, I think start of 2020. I think it was like early January we'd done pre-production. We were booked into the studio in March to do the record 2020, and then like the week or 2 weeks before, like, COVID cases just went up, and so we were ready to go like 2020, and it wasn't until last year that we were able to record it. And so during that time we just like refined everything, but we'd done pre-pro, we'd done everything, we were ready to roll March. And then when we were open back up the end of 2020 into 2021, we just refined things a little bit more, did another pre-production session, few sessions with our producer Julian, and by the time we hit the studio, we had a 2-week snap lockdown, the 2 weeks that ended the Thursday before, or whatever it was, before we went into the studio on Saturday. So we hadn't played for 2 weeks, just out of lockdown, not allowed to leave our area. And then we went into this like where I work at a studio, and on the Friday night, and then finalized all our click tracks, our BPMs, and had one more hit out, and went into the studio like late February, early March last year, and then had a really quick turnaround, and we released the album on August 13th, 2021. So from like final mixes and mastering, and probably like late March, March, April, May, like 5 months, and it was out. Yeah, it was,
because obviously it must be so strange to like I had a conversation with you guys the week at Frankie's, and I was saying, like, are you getting over the set list? Yeah, you know, like with the tour, and I think it might have been Nick was like, no, because we haven't got to play these songs.
Yeah, correct.
For so long, so it's like it's brand new to us, even though they're a couple of years old. This is like a brand new set for us.
Yeah.
But like one thing I find, and it must have been just so weird. It's like promoting an album and then not even being sure when you're going to be able to get out and play that album. That must have been.
Yeah. It was so wild, because we'd lined up a tour. Like, I can show you the spreadsheet of like the last year's tour from September.
Yeah.
Till what's the year?
22.
22. So we were September into like start of the year, and then we just like we released it August last year, and then it started rolling down. I think New South Wales sort of got pretty bad with cases. Oh, that's cool. Don't apologize for the whole state. Like,
sorry.
Yeah.
But dirty bastards here in Sydney. I'm sorry.
Nah, it's cool, baby. Like, you know, it's just life. So we never actually announced our tour at the end of last year into the start of this year. And then as things started like getting like looking more promising, we booked in like March, April, May this year, because we were just like over summer we were like, let's just make sure we're all cool, and with like regulations and stuff, and then we just went hard out and booked. And we left like a few weeks in between some shows just to give us like a COVID barrier or buffer in case someone got COVID. And I did the other week.
Oh, have you
Yeah.
just got over it? Yeah.
Oh, like, so the day after Frankie's, I flew back to a wedding in Melbourne, and like pretty much the whole wedding got.
Yeah, well, so Rowan, our guitarist, he got it from Frankie's that night.
Yeah. So
was it you? Was it you?
No, I hope not.
Oh no, it's okay, man. I don't think you can give anybody a hard time for bringing COVID into any situation, though.
Yeah.
But yeah,
so I got it the day after.
Pretty crook after that.
Yeah, and then you had the was it the Paul gig? I was talking to him on Insta, and he's like, "Oh, I hope I'm better for that." And I'm like, I can't remember what I said actually.
Yeah, he was probably, I think he's got a little bit of long COVID at the minute. Like he's still not right. And the night of that show, he was like, I don't know if I can sing. I don't know. I haven't tried. And he's like, right now, breathing is just the struggle. And I was like, get a Jack Daniels in your head. You'll be all right. I was like, don't be catching it here again. But
man. Jack Daniels will cure all.
It does, yeah. Also ruins a few things. How have you found it getting back out there gigging again since?
Man, loved it. Absolutely every second of it. And we're down to Hobart this weekend for it's called Brews and Blues, a little festival at Hobart Brewing Company.
Yeah.
They do I think it's mainly like I can't remember the exact. I know like partaken in drinking a lot of their beers because they stock them at the local, and they're delicious. But
they're just a craft brewery, or
I think they're pretty big. Like it's the back space opens up. It's like maybe like 600 people can fit into the space.
Oh, geez, nice.
But they've got like the whole brewing set up, and so
Oh, that'll be some trip.
Brews and Blues.
So what's the rider look like for you guys?
Man, I think they just hook us up to one of the copper vats. Like,
right.
Just straight into the eyeball.
Give you a straw.
Yeah. Go for gold.
Yeah.
They just said a very generous spread of our finest. So
nice.
That's
beautiful. How do you get over there, man? Do you...
We're just flying. So we're gonna fly over on the day of, and then fly home the next day. So
how much can you bring back?
I can buy the beer at the local, but
don't worry.
The rider, maybe
I'd say you're going to be 75% beer anyway, flying back.
I just like ditch the clothes, ditch everything else, just tinnies.
Body weight is just pure booze.
I'll just wear a big jacket and like put it under my coat. Like
I would never know.
Yeah, just like a
huge
trench coat and just pull it open and like offer people beers. So like watches.
Brilliant offer for you, my friend.
You want a lager?
You want the Rolex Corona?
Yeah. But to answer your question, I guess like, man, loving playing. We're a live band really, like essentially, and can't get enough of it. We love
which every band should be.
Yeah.
And then you're playing gigs and you go, off. Best thing about it, man.
It is totally like I just like meeting people like you, like meeting just that energy of like talking to people, connecting with people. It's as you would know, man, like you put a lot out when you're on stage.
Yeah.
So it's good to like reciprocate it and get like positive feedback or positive, feedback, I guess. Positive. Yeah. I was going to say positive reviews. It's like people in the crowd are like, review.
4 out of 5 on Yelp.
Yeah, something like that. But the feedback, man, like when punters, like general music lovers, other musicians come up, it just buzzes you. Like not in an egotistical way. It's like you were here, we put it all on the line, and you did the same. Like you accepted that energy and you really dug it. Like it's just so cool after a few years of like, sitting at home watching films, drinking Hobart Brewing Company beers.
Yeah.
What's the best bit of feedback you've got? Yes, like, you know, as a musician back from being in the band, and also on the flip side, what's the, you know, the shittest thing like a heckler or a punter is giving you grief for?
Probably
so
called him Dave Grohl.
Yeah, you too, motherfucker.
Does.
Nah, so
Whoopsies.
I've got John Bonham
Nice
tattoo on the wrist, and we're in Albury. Actually, we're in Albury the night before Frankie's, and this is a recent compliment. And this dude, so I broke my snare skin that night. I was just like, I played pretty ferociously, and this dude's like, mate, he came up after the show and just goes, mate, some people break sticks during shows, and I also broke a stick in that show and went flying. And he's like, you broke a stick, then you broke a snare drum, and I cracked a cymbal. And he's like, and you cracked a cymbal. You're like John Bonham reborn. And I was just like, just dropped to the ground and sort of praised him profusely, kissed his feet, shined them for him, did things like that.
Maybe that's where you got COVID from, that man's smelly feet.
Yeah, maybe. No, it was the wedding because our whole table had it.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't bring it to Sydney.
I think it was the guy's feet. Definitely the guy's feet.
COVID feet.
Aubrey
COVID feet.
It's huge Aubrey COVID feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think when you get a compliment like that, man, that's also probably the greatest drummer ever.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like when you think, like, you look up to somebody like that and you put in all the hours and then somebody says that. And for him, he's probably just been like, I need to tell this guy this. But for you go, I really needed that. Like, you know, especially when you haven't had that kind of adulation for like 2 years.
Correct.
It's huge.
I
what about the shittest? What about the shittest thing?
Well,
maybe we should have done this the other way around, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's not the shittest. It was just funny. Like I played a show and the old drummer Ryan's a really good sound engineer, and he was like joking. It was off the cuff, but he was like, come up after we finished the set and he's like, "Oh, you played my songs pretty well." And then we just like both, nice. And then like he played all those parts, and then he sort of like looked at me, and then I just like laughed, and he pissed himself too. But it was like this semi-serious moment where I was like, "Is he taking the piss?" But yeah, it was like, I guess because he fucking is a boss drummer as well. Like you know, I don't play everything exactly note for note for him, so if I get I guess that's like a compliment as well.
Well,
you played my parts sort of okay.
What you're telling us, Joel, is you are bloody perfect on the drums.
Nah,
I'm understanding it.
What's some hecklers?
Don't make them up like when you go to confession as a kid and the priest's like, you done wrong, and you're like, I stole from an old lady.
I stole all the things.
All right.
I think
about doing something bad is worse.
I'll make this a bit easier for you if there's not one that comes to mind. What's the best drummer joke?
Who hangs around musicians?
Yeah. Come on, that's an entry level one.
Nice.
Oh, that's the only one I know. That's what everyone tells me. I'm like, well, actually, AMEB grade 7 piano. Nah, I'm not really, but I just say that and everyone gets impressed.
I'm impressed.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm pretty tall. Like people, I guess, have called me like a Sasquatch or like Bigfoot or something before. I'm big and hairy, and that's happened at shows.
Yeah.
Bigfoot is a good one. Chewy, yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I'd take that.
Yeah.
If I was you, I'd get a Chewy logo on the front of your drum. Yeah.
Oh, Chewy kick drum. Yeah. Right.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. People will just think I've put a photo of myself on the kick drum. Like,
is that Dave Grohl or Chewbacca? That's what I was gonna say.
What's he got Dave Grohl on his drum kit for?
What's the plans, man? What's coming next for the Ugly Kings? Then what's the rest of the year looking like?
Yeah, so we're sort of mapping it out a little bit. We're going to finish this tour and which is May 13th, Northcote Social Club, like a hometown gig is the last show. Nice. And then we're gonna just we've got offered a few supports. We haven't announced anything yet, so we're gonna just keep
that to
keep
yourselves.
playing, yeah. And if it all comes through, etc. And not like massive supports, just like ones in Melbourne and stuff. So just chatting with some bands where we're gonna record again. Just timeline we're not completely sure about. Just probably get this tour out of the way. And
what do you think, man? Like singles and EP, or going for another album?
Well, I just did a count of like demos and stuff, and there's probably like just really rough like voice memos and stuff, and there's probably like 70 in my playlist. And
70.
Yeah, not all things.
Oh well, no, but
but
you'll get an album out of it.
I love Hearted like 41.
Oh, okay.
And I think like they're the ones with legs, so we'll whittle them down to to an album at least, maybe 2, not sure yet. Still like talking about that. And yeah, we'd love to just like record a heap of new stuff and just drip feed it, we think, for probably a release next year, but get some stuff out. We're talking to our label about potentially another small release. Nothing's been cemented in
concrete.
But back end of the year we're definitely going to be in the studio and just playing as much as we can. As you know, would love to get up to Frankie's again before it closes and see you dudes play and have another night.
Yeah.
See if some Jack Daniels can fix some ailments.
Oh well, we'll drink that anyway. We'll put that away. But man, I think like, especially because you guys are a prolific band, right? You know, and I know you're new, but maybe you're the glue they always needed, Joel. Maybe you were the glue, but like I just think it's very, very good to hear, because I imagine like a lot of those tracks are in lockdown, just pinging ideas between it, you know. And like we did that ourselves. We probably came out with 30 songs out of lock. I've never wrote fucking that many songs in my life. And then in lockdown, I was like, what to do today? Let's have a crack at a song. And as you say, not all of them are going to be good, but
correct.
Be in a position where it's not like you're going into the studio thinking, fuck, like what are we going to put on this album? You've got a whole range of stuff to choose from, and I think it's exciting, man. I'm excited to see what he's put out next and going from there.
We've I don't know, it might be stylistically slightly different, some of the stuff. Like getting I don't want to give too much away.
Well, can I take this into nerd territory here, Joel? And
welcome to nerd territory with Hamish Reed.
Yeah, I just want to know too, because you said before, you know, you work in a studio, and I just want to know how you mix your you mix drums and how you think of that.
Yeah, so I manage the business at the studio, so I don't do too much engineering, but I just go for like the Zeppelin. Like I'll mic everything up and maybe not use everything, but I just remember reading this article about the way that they would use compression on some of those drums, with the release time quite long, super short attack, and then quite a high ratio. And man, I just slap most of that on in the box with because I'll like most drums I'll do at the moment are at the studio, and I just get the 2 vocal mics, put it into my little interface, or 3, one kick, mono overhead, snare, and then it's just purely demo stuff. And what I mainly do is just I just, with some EQ and a few other little bits and pieces, I'll just like flipping. Anyways, I just try to make the mono overhead sort of reversed and sound a little bit stereo. You know, like that mono to stereo trick, you can just YouTube it, and I just do that for fun, just to give it like a wider sound. And then the kick, I I know I do funny things. Like I'll just some drums that I use, like, and they're like these 57s or 58s. So I'll just like I use Ableton Live a lot because I produce a lot of hip hop. Yeah. So I work in a few prison units in Melbourne producing hip hop and recording vocals mainly for clients in the centres. So I do a ton, like I've got an Ableton push controller and I just make beats and I'll record over them. So yeah, I think I use Ableton as my DAW, and you can do a heap of cool stuff with, like, you can do it in most DAWs, but like I'll just sub out like the kick. I'll convert it to MIDI and then put whatever sound, like just sound replacement stuff, and just like, or thicken up a kick drum with that technique.
Yeah.
For demos, I've never done much band stuff. Generally, like I work with a band, a punk band in Melbourne, Trash and the Treasures, and they're just thrashy punk stuff. Like, it's fun as hell. Whenever I record them, I'll just again mic everything up and then just choose a balance. So sometimes I use some parallel compression, sometimes I use on like my drum buses particularly. So like slam one really hard, drop it in the mix, have the other one sort of like a nicer room sound, and it just adds like a little bit of crunch underneath. Like it's pretty simple stuff. But yeah, it's good fun.
What about like with your snare?
Like,
are you leaving, or like when you're in the studio, do you run your kick right, like through its own compression channel, like isolate that away from your snare? Like, what are you putting any, like, do you using much like reverb on your snare? Like, what do you
I don't know, like mainly demos at the moment. So like the studio I work out, and mainly like I can record drums and stuff, but mainly it's a vocal studio. Like, and again for hip hop, for like programs we run. But I think I definitely isolate. I group certain mics together just to like glue them together or make them sound a little bit more synced. But like a kick drum, again, like just this thing in Ableton, you right click and convert audio or convert drums to MIDI, and then it'll just most of the time just like bangs out your transients. So I'll use that to thicken up a kick drum, and then I can bounce that kick pattern to an audio channel and bounce it out as audio, so I can remanipulate it or use it however I want. And then there'll be two different tones. So usually, like, instead of recording with a sub kick like a Yamaha sub kick mic, or like heaps of mics, or adding a sub in there for that bottom end thud, I'll just sub out. I'll put in whatever kick sound I like. Usually add like some really low end stuff, like almost like hip hoppy sounds, and that adds like, I don't know, like you've got the thud from the kick drum and the beater, and then like it just like gives it this like body, like I can't remember which ones I use, but like the hip hop ones are like 808s, and you can really like get into them and really sync, like just mess with the parameters. So you can add like this, depends on the song, but like if you want like that real low end in it, that's what I do. And then I guess with I don't usually what do I do? I'll like sometimes run like most of the time run compression on individual channels, and sometimes on the way in with some hardware, and then when I group it, I might lightly compress, like just to glue the sound together. Depends on what I'm doing though as well. So like compression in depends how it sounds after it's recorded in the box, whether it's needed. And I can just usually like look at transients, put put a compressor on it and see if there's any gain reduction needed, or if there's some huge transients there that need to just be clipped or whatever it is. And then what else? You said reverb. Man, I'm a big fan of like artificial reverb. Like I love it in spaces, but I love like our engineer used the Valhalla plugin, the Valhalla reverb.
Yeah.
I just slap that on everything, man. Guitars, anything, like just direct in and just Valhalla. It makes everything better.
Yeah.
You know, let's get the Valhalla plugin, the reverb plugin.
Yeah.
That's
Anyone
the biggest
listening,
takeaway.
Man, that's a great plugin.
Yeah.
I wish
everything. I was gonna say makes everything wet, but that's real weird.
You can say.
Yeah.
You can say everything. Makes everything sopping moist. Wet. Yeah. Sopping wet.
Yeah. That's
that.
Where I was going.
Man, I think all the drummers are going to be wet, because like this is the first time we've really dive deep into drumland on the
yeah.
So they're all.
I sort of just talked in roundabouts there. I was like, if I was very specific, it was like kick
we do
with the MIDI thing.
Yeah,
that'll give it like any sound you want to make sure it sounds sick. Snare drums, depends. Like I'll flip the phase on the bottom mic. That's pretty stock standard.
Yeah.
If I've mic'd the bottom, so because you can actually see the transients go the wrong way.
Yeah.
And so utility in Ableton does that. You just flip phase there.
Yeah.
That's super. It's one click of a button on a plugin. And that just like syncs it and snaps it, like, and it doesn't sound out of phase. What else? I haven't done it in so long.
You know what's funny, man, is like recently, like I'm at the moment, man, I'm doing like a engineering course.
Oh, sick.
But also by doing, this podcast and, just putting myself out to the world, I've got to meet like some really, really top Australian engineers that have worked on, anyone and everybody's records.
Yeah. Right.
And I'll tell you a Zeppelin story I heard recently at the end of the podcast. But the funny thing is, like singers, right? Like Jack, like they'll tend to want the best microphones in the world, right? Like the Newmans and all the rest of it. And then guitar players want, the old Les Pauls and stuff like that, and Strats, and will spend thousands. But the thing is, all the engineers that I've spoken to that have really made best record, they've always been from like weird mics that you wouldn't, that are almost like the things that were laying around studios, and go, oh, wow, you know what I mean? Like, and
my buddy said, is the SM58 like the most? It's like the most used microphone on number one hits, like, or like number one records around the world. Like it's been used in different, or like 57 or something was like, it's been on like more number one records than any other microphone in the world.
I think that
like this live mic. There was man, people will cook me for that because it's probably wrong. But an engineer buddy told me it's like one of the Shores have like been used on every just in different ways.
And you're right. And I think that a lot that really just boils down to those mics being really good, and then them having, and also just the availability too.
They're so durable as well.
Everybody, every singer has one of those in the back pocket, you know what I mean? And like the Newmans have cost you an arm and a leg.
Well, that's the thing. Like I saw a video of a Humvee driving over a 58 and it just worked normally, like on YouTube.
Oh man, the amount of SM58s I've dropped on stage, and you pick them up and you look at it and you go, that ain't gonna work, and then it works fine. They're just there. It's durable. I think it's the most used live microphone on the world. It's like industry wise, it's the one that everyone goes, just get an SM58, you'll be all right.
Well, I mean, with live music too, like you don't really have a lot of choice with what mics you can use live, because if you start trying to use like condenser mics or any mics where you can kind of flip the polar patterns, you'll start getting feedback straight away. So you kind of, left to just dynamic mics, and
Yeah.
that is just your go-to, really, for sure.
Yeah. I guess it depends. Like you get onto that big territory of like, I know Neumann have a handheld condenser for like people with in ears and no wedges and stuff, but no stage noise. But probably costs, like you said, an arm
10
and a
grand.
leg. Yeah, I don't actually think they're that pricey, but I know AKG do some cool dynamic mics, and yeah, man, I usually like my little. This is like for demoing vocals or something of this 57. Usually I have just a 58 without the capsule on.
Yeah.
Like exactly the same thing
Oh,
essentially.
yeah.
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 And like does the same job. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I wasn't prepared for the drum question. I don't do it enough. I'm gonna beat myself up for this.
Oh, it's all right. You've just Hamish is just fucking wet his pants anyway with all that drum information.
But I guess my biggest tip for drum recording is tuning drums, man.
Yeah.
Having well-tuned drums, or like not even for like to notes, or like like, oh, this is a C and this is a third below the floor tom, whatever. Like doesn't have to be notes and harmonically make a chord or whatever, unless you like Terry Bozzio, who has like tuned chromatic drums. He's got like 6 however many, and he can play melodies on them. Like just make sure they're consistently making the same sound. Snare drums particularly. I learned this from our engineer in the studio, Julian Schwitzer in Melbourne, and he's a wizard. Hey?
Shout out. Is he the man who does all your records, is he?
No, he's just on the last one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and he'll hopefully, if he wants to come back on board, we'll do our next one. He's just, man, he's clever. He's a phenomenal drummer as well.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely off this world drummer. And but just the loveliest dude, really good guitarist, plays in the sick band Death Beat in Melbourne, and just a lovely dude to be around, man. Like just the type of dude you want to spend like 10 days in a studio with.
All day.
All day for 10 days. Yeah. But yeah, man, he just got us into the real habit of like checking tuning, making sure everything's sounding really spot on. And I'll often do that at the start of a session, but just that consistency is key to making it sound really cool.
I'm gonna sound really dumb here, and I'm not prepared to ask this question, so here goes. I like, I'm a guitar player, right? And I, and understanding how you tune guitars and pianos is quite simple to get your head around, right? But understanding how you tune drums, I don't know. I don't know how you just you do it.
The same premise, right? So all the tension creates a note essentially.
Yeah.
So your resonant and batter head, different drummers will tune different ways. Like, but your batter, the side you hit is usually, some people will tune the same. So like you can actually play, C, whatever it is, make the same pitch as a piano or something. Dung, 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 dung. Tune, fine tune. And that's essentially each lug just makes the same noise. Dong, 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 dong. That should be that note. Flip it over. Some drummers, do the same note. Dong, 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 dong. And then that'll just like ring. And but there's heaps of tools, right? You can get like tension, like they feel the tension in the drum, the drum dials and stuff, and it'll just like you just drum it to the same tension on each lug, and then that's it. It should be theoretically the same note. YouTube has heaps of shit with it, like there's a dude, I think his Insta's Jay Scott. He's like phenomenal drummer on Instagram, and he does courses on just tuning and getting ready for the studio, just getting your drums sounding sweet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like full 6 hours tuning toms. Like, yeah, it's wild. But not a stupid question, because like Yeah, because there's two sides of the drum, and the resonant head reacts and will change the note. So if it's like really low, really low on the side you hit, and really high pitch, it'll do different things to like same notes or lower on the resonant head. Like drums react differently. So yeah,
is there a whole like food for thought bunch of drummers out there that are going in and playing around with the tunings and not just going to C? And
I just said C, and
yeah, but like, are you guys just
because there's no sharps or flats, you know, in C.
yeah.
It's
But
an easy key.
are you like are you? Do you actually tune to particular keys, or are you just tuning to make it sound good to your?
No, I'm generally like to like an aesthetic thing. So I'm like, boom, that sounds sick. That sounds like nice and full. I'll just, you know, get my batter head sounding sick, like nice and warm and deep. Like I like big sounding drums. So it's like get that sounding nice. But some bands will tune in the studio to the song, the key of the song. So they'll like tune up and or down or whatever it is. So like you're in like, you know, E minor, and they'll be like, my tom will be, you know, it'll be like the G, like the or like an F sharp or something. So it'll make like, and then, you know, you might, or what chord are we? E, like a B and an E or something. So it makes like, if you got two toms, so it makes like E, whatever that difference is. Anyways, my brain's not working. But like we'll make like part of a chord. I'll do an easy one, like you're in A major and like A drum might be like A and D. It makes like first and a fifth or whatever. Yeah. I don't know. I don't do that, so I'm just speculating, but I'm sure people do that.
Speculating to accumulate. So man, as we start to wrap up, a question I like to ask is, if you weren't a musician, what would you be doing? If it weren't for music, where would your life be? Dave Grohl.
Well, my whole career is like music based. So I probably wouldn't exist, right? I wouldn't actually be anywhere. I wouldn't do anything. I'd just
be matter.
Be like a vacuum. There'd be like a vacuum where I used to be. I wouldn't exist. Because I can't imagine my life without the creative arts and music, really. What would I be doing? I love playing sport, like cricket and footy and basketball as a kid, and maybe if I like pursued that more, then, you know, I got to a point when I was like 16, 17 where I started partying and playing music, and the sport dropped away. So.
One or the other.
Yeah.
It can never be both. It never seems to be both, does it?
I know. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I would have put all my energy into sport, and maybe I'd have like, I don't know, my own protein powder brand or something, like, you know, Sports Active.
That's the dream for us all.
Yeah, getting into Coles on high rotation of like,
and it just be your face on a protein shake. Yeah, like the idea of that.
Fine, man.
Does that make money? I guess.
Can you brand, you know, the Ugly Kings, you know, Dave Grohl, protein powder, pre-workout.
Pre gig out.
Pre-gig. That's clever, isn't it?
Actually, I think I've got something for that. But
this is a family show.
Yes, correct.
Looking sometimes. Well, everybody, this man is an amazing drummer, and he plays in an amazing band. So do everything you can to go and watch the Ugly Kings. Do everything you can to listen to the music. It's not that hard. Just go on Spotify. You used to listen. No, I'm not saying that, you lovely people. But honestly, man, thank you very much for that. And I think a lot of drummers in bands, I think a lot of musicians are going to really, really enjoy that talk, to be honest, because I'm a singer who carries a microphone and a stand around, and you open my eyes to a few things there. So thank you, man. Thank you for giving us your time as well, dude.
Man,
I appreciate it.
Super grateful for you having me on, and I hope if it if it did help someone, like just hit me up on Insta or something. I love chatting, like, you know, love sharing stuff. If we can help each other out, then we'll all be in a
all
better
prosper.
spot. Yeah,
All prosper.
we'll